Ankush is also here.
Hello.
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 Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good.
Finally, how's
You?
how's the first week going?
Second week actually. Sorry, now it's the third week that started. Yeah. So I'm glad, yeah, the onboarding stuff got done with in the first 2 weeks, and now
Mhm.
I am a little free. But yeah, there was just too much information flowing around.
I'm pretty sure it will be another month or so before you finally get some understanding.
Yeah, that's what my product managers also warned me on.
It's optimistic
But
for 1 month.
yeah, exactly. But
Oh my
Let's
God.
see.
at least there would be an idea what's going on after 1 month.
Yeah.
Probably incorrect, right?
And
Incorrect.
the
Yeah.
famous sweatshirt is back.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Nice. So I think
How,
Alexi was wearing it for all the weeks so far, right?
Well,
Or is it?
except those who there where you weren't there.
Oh, okay. So is this specially for my eyes?
I guess. I didn't know if
But
you would
it's
join or not, but it coincided. Or
no,
maybe
but
not.
it's nice. It's
is
not
it a
bothering.
coincidence?
It's nice.
It is, we already stream, yes.
Oh,
Hi.
hey
Hey,
Victoria.
it's
Hey
Hello,
Vicky.
everybody.
Victoria.
Sorry.
What
Ankush, it's
books
not
do you have?
Victoria, it's Vicky.
It's Vicky. Sorry, it's Vicky or is it Vic?
Whatever you want to use. I,
No,
I
what do you
also
prefer?
got more used to the Victoria since I'm in Berlin, so
So what books do you have?
me in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, these are not mine. This is mostly anime and then some Sherman books.
Goethe.
Nice.
Not here, but it's mostly books in German, I would say. So Moby Dick, Sherlock Holmes.
None of them are
A
German
lot.
originally, right? Sherlock Holmes is English, an English
Yeah,
book.
it's English. But all of this is in German. So here there are a bunch of Arthur Conan Doyle, all in German. The Hundertwasserspiel.
Do you read them in German?
No. I live with a German person.
Ah, okay. Nice.
At least your German would be good enough.
I hope so. He is German. I would say
Or does it get worse?
English.
Because all my learning of German is basically from the letters I receive, and then I try to decode them. Basically, that's how I learn. You don't even have to do that.
I think I might try learning German through by watching German cinema. Uh, no?
Won't work.
Yeah.
Oh, I did learn
Well,
a
you can
few
try.
words by watching Dark on Netflix. That's a nice series.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good one. Actually, it was super confusing even in English. So I think in German, I would be completely lost.
Possibly.
Okay,
So you
so I
watched
think
the
it's.
whole series in German?
I just wanted to say that it's 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So we should probably start. Sorry for interrupting this lovely chat. Um, yeah, I don't know. Probably I have an announcement. I think I should because now it's week 5, which is week 6, right? It's very confusing. With weeks are very relative in data engineering Zoomcamp because they're not calendar weeks. They're so I think it's like calendar week 6, but it's actually week 5, which will start soon because we still are dealing with homework week 4. So there was an extension, if you didn't see an announcement, for the week 4 homework till Wednesday. This hopefully gives me enough time to My kid also had an announcement. I don't know if you heard it. Yeah, he
No,
opened
we
the room.
didn't. Tell us.
Yeah, there was something that I do not want to say. Um,
Okay.
anyways, so this hopefully gives me some time to finish editing the videos, and then I still need to record a few of them, but most of them are already there. Yeah, because I have an app called Crisp that filters out all the noises, and it only focuses on my voice. That's why maybe you didn't hear my kid now again. Anyways, yeah, they use some AI to remove to do noise cancelling. Anyways, so this hopefully will give me some time to finish the videos while you're working on question 1 from week 4. And yeah, the videos are already there. You can start watching them. So I want what we already published should be enough for a homework. So I will think about the homework today, and I will publish it soon. So those who finished homework 4 can already start with week 5. So the videos are already in the playlist. They will be soon in GitHub. And yeah, that's probably the announcement I had. I just came up with this. Does anyone else have other announcements?
Probably on homework week 4 that you can skip question 1 because there were a lot of inconsistencies. Apparently, everyone had different things in the numbers. So yeah, we haven't decided yet, right? We either skip it so you don't lose a point, or we accept the 2 most voted answers. The number is very similar, so that would explain as well why those are the main ones. But do not stay blocked, let's say, if you're still in question 1.
Yeah, and it's really surprising because everyone had pretty much the same way of getting the data to BigQuery, right?
Yeah, that's also why and there's also no problem with the question 2. So that's also why I'm quite surprised.
Okay, so should we go to Slido? Or
Yeah.
there are some other announcements. Ankush, maybe you want to say something about week 6? Because I saw that the videos are hidden, right? So only I could see them, right? Nobody else could.
No, actually, I made them public this morning.
Okay. Okay.
Assuming that we will start with Kafka week this one. But there are some videos from week 6 already there, guys. If you saw it, good for you. I will make them private again after.
I think
after
it's
this
fine.
call.
Maybe somebody is ahead.
Yeah.
So why not hide them?
Yeah.
I mean, why not keep them?
I still didn't finish them, so that's good because now I have another week to finish a couple of more videos and then start with homework.
Okay, so there are already questions in Slido, and some of them are about week 5. Probably I already clarified them. So week 5 content still missing. Are those videos final? Can we start watching the ones uploaded? Yes, you can start watching them. There is one video that, let me show you, that I've almost finished. So yeah, so this is my video editor. So this video is about SQL, which I took a query that like this revenue calculation from week 4, and I did this in Spark. And with this video that I will upload shortly, you will have enough information to do the homework. So you can start watching this homework that does not exist yet. So I will publish that soon as well. So by tomorrow you should have it. So please start watching if you finished week 4. And yeah, there will be more videos, but they will be more like optional videos. So the core videos are almost finished. For week 5, Alexei, you rushed through the Spark setup on video 503. Can you elaborate a little bit more? What I can do is So go to GitHub, and in GitHub, if we go to week 5 and we go to setup, so in the video, what I do is I just go through this Linux setup. So I just step by step execute this on a virtual machine. That's why, yeah, you can just follow this, and then yeah, PySpark. Do you have any specific concern, like was something not clear? Maybe you can tell us, and then maybe I'll do a follow-up video, or maybe I will edit this a little bit. Yeah, just let us know.
I would say we also already answered that one, right? Let's keep it. And yes, there has been, we postponed the deadline, which was today, and now it's next. No, when is it?
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
And
I think.
yeah.
Let me check it. I think I put Wednesday 22 o'clock.
I think so too.
Central European time.
And we'll have a video like we did the other
Yeah.
weeks.
So
Yeah.
this is Wednesday. Yeah, so you still have a couple of days. Okay, next one. Yeah, does anyone want to take this?
I wonder where is the data mismatch. I guess it's that one that happened with the e-hail fee, right?
Perhaps. Data mismatch, maybe data types mismatch, right? Because I saw also there was a thread in Slack that something like integer cannot be cast to Boolean or something like this, some stuff like that.
That was in the e-hail fee. I think it's because at the very beginning and at certain, I also had something like at the beginning it's only a 0, and then in the latest month it starts being, or it's not like null or something like that, and then it starts being 170. It's something like that.
Yeah, even I.
Loading.
Yeah, even I read that message that you were referring to, Vic. Are we using that field in week 4 for your transformations?
Yes, but it's not important. I mean,
Okay.
it's used because it uses every field, but I think it's in general the question: how would you go about when you have such problem when loading the data? Like, I mean, it's similar to a schema evolution. How would you address that? I don't know that with Airflow.
Yeah, probably the reason we have this is the way we convert CSV to Parquet is we let this PyArrow or whatever we use decide which types to use. And for one CSV file, for example, for, I don't know, I'm just making this up. So for example, for year 2020 January, Parquet decides that, or PyArrow decides that for this specific column, the type is double, but then for the next month, it decides that this is integer. And because we don't explicitly provide the schema, this can happen, right? And I think in real life, you would want to provide the schema. You would want to make sure that the files, the Parquet files you write to your data lake, they follow the same schema. Because if you don't do this, then if you try to query data that have these inconsistencies, then yeah, you know what will happen.
Yeah, and in addition to that, sometimes there are also pre-processing steps involved before you push the data to the storage for exactly for these issues. So yeah, this is what you would do in production. But yeah, we should probably, I don't know if we should include this as a part of our workshop for the next iterations. But yeah, thanks for bringing this to our notice.
Yeah, I decided, I thought maybe it will help if I try doing something like this for week 5. So in week 5, there is a code. So yeah, I tried to explicitly set the schema. Yeah, and indeed, yeah, this looks ugly, but yeah, maybe something like this we should have done in week 1 and week 2 when we converted CSV to Parquet with Python.
That's nice.
Anything else here, or I mark this as resolved? I guess I just mark it as resolved. Question to me, could you please give some specific examples from practice when SQL couldn't do something but Spark functionality could do this? Yeah, so for me, an example that maybe not super relevant to this specific course, but since I'm a data scientist and I need to deal with machine learning a lot, then things like applying a machine learning algorithm to your data in the data lake, this is something that you cannot easily do with SQL. But in Spark, this is super easy. And then Spark can write back to your data lake or data warehouse, so it has these nice integrations. So this is pretty convenient for me personally. I'm trying to think of an example that doesn't involve data science. Well, sometimes, for example, there is a thing called Bloom filter. And for example, yeah, so this is like a data structure that lets you check whether an element is in a specific set or not. This is like a set, but probabilistic. And for example, you want to build such a Bloom filter from a big data set. You cannot easily do this from SQL with SQL. But with Spark, it's I wouldn't say it's super simple, but it is possible. You can do this. So things like this that you cannot express with SQL, you cannot express with select, group by, and so on. So this is when you would use something like Spark. I think Ankush probably can add something to that as well, or Sejal.
So from what you're saying, I can just summarize maybe that Spark has added advantage of parallelization or processing data by distributing it across nodes and parallelly processing it, which makes it really quicker. And one such use case is the Bloom filter, which Alexei just showed. Yeah, this is all I can add.
Yeah, I think maybe comparing something like a data warehouse or BigQuery with Spark might make more sense in this case. And I would say both of them are advancing quite quickly. So BigQuery is coming more and more and making it more and more easy for you to do most of the transformations, honestly. But there would be some Spark functionalities like Spark ML, like controlling your broadcast, maybe joining things in a particular way, and like so that it doesn't take that much time. And that would not be possible in something like BigQuery. Like that kind of a control you will not get in BigQuery, but you can get those kind of control in Spark. But at the same time, I also have to say that Spark is also introducing Spark SQL. So if you are familiar with Spark, if you are more comfortable with SQL, then you can still use SQL and use Spark underneath it. So it might be beneficial to explore that also.
Yeah, the workflow I have when I use Spark is often, instead of using Spark transformations, I would just have a step where I would execute some SQL queries inside Spark, and then I will get a data that is ready, that is prepared, and then I would do something custom on this, like maybe run a UDF on that, or maybe I would do turn this to RDD and do map partition. So videos do not cover this yet. I'm still yet to finish these videos about RDDs and map partition, but this is sometimes that this is what I do personally. Yeah.
And I guess it's also a bit hard to like compare apples to apples when it comes to a data warehouse and a Spark solution, because you use them for different purposes, right? So with data warehouse, you already have the data in a consistent way, but when you're using a data lake with Spark, the data is most probably in an unformatted or maybe in a different way that you would like to do some kind of transformations and something on top of that before you actually start processing them. And that might not be possible in a data warehouse. So you might also want to consider your use case when using data warehouse solution with Spark.
I will mark this as resolved. Please explain more about the projects, like idea and evaluation criteria. Also, prefect can be used instead of Airflow. So maybe I'll start with the last one. Yes, prefect can be used instead of Airflow. You can use any workflow engine, any data warehouse, anything for doing data transformations. So as long as you have the flow, it's fine. So it's up to you to use the tool you want. Just be sure that, let's say if you use prefect, describe in the project what exactly this tool is and how to start it, because your peers will be evaluating the projects and they might not know what prefect is. They know what Airflow is because we covered that in the course, but they do not know, probably you might assume they do not know what prefect is, or what I know, other tools for doing ETLs, transformations and so on. Yeah, apart from that, yeah, it's fine. Evaluation criteria, we still need to think about them. So this is something we will spend some time thinking about it right now, soon. And about the project, I think the idea we had, we recently discussed it. So we want the end task would be to build something like a dashboard. So first select a data set and then build the dashboard. And you need to do all the steps to get there, which means ingesting data, putting them to some data lake, then doing some transformations, putting them to a data warehouse, then transforming the data, and then finally displaying this in a dashboard. Right? Did I forget anything?
No, I would definitely also what you said, have in mind that it's peer review and they may not, they must have like all of the resources to understand if you use something outside of the course.
Exactly. And evaluation criteria, yeah, we still need to think about that.
Yeah.
I want to set up a Google Cloud Platform VM. Should I load data using Web2 GCP script or Airflow to upload data? Advantages of using VM compared to transfer service. Anyone?
What is Web2 GCS? Is this one, Sashal, is this your script? Right? The last one. Yeah.
Yeah. It was basically just a hack if people are struggling with Airflow and the other stuff, and especially the errors related to the one that you mentioned, the EHIL fee thing, where like, you know, in a bulk manner, people are not able to convert to Parquet directly. Some files, not all of them. So I just, like, you know, created this quick hack where you can just upload these directly as CSVs, or additionally, there's a bit about Parquet as well. So yeah, that's just about it. So in regards to this question, I want to set up a GCP VM. Should I load the data using this quick hack script, or Airflow to upload data? Advantage using VM compared to transfer service. I'll try to answer the first half of the question. Ideally, we would want you to use Airflow because it is a part of the course. But like I said, if it is too time consuming, and if you think you cannot, like, you know, complete it in time, and if you want to be in sync with the current week's course, then yeah, sure, feel free to move ahead. And advantage of using VM compared to transfer service, I think Ankush would be, Ankush and Alexi could be better people to answer this.
Sure. So I think transfer service is definitely way much more easier to set up and to run, but the advantage of you running a VM can be the cost. So transfer service can get very costly very quickly, depending upon your data size and upon the amount of hours it will run and everything like that. So basically, I will go for a VM option if when I do my calculations for price, if I see that the price is approximately going higher for transfer service, I will ditch that and start building my own VM.
But the beauty of these transfer services, you just need to provide the AWS keys, click button, and then you have it. So with $300 in credits that we have, from Google Cloud, that is a no-brainer, right? because it
Yeah,
will
like
not.
for
What's the cost of this for this specific data set? Do you
three and a
remember?
half to $4.
Yeah, so not that much.
Yeah. So for this use case, transfer service makes absolute sense. Again, don't do it by the UI. Do it using Terraform if you want to do it in production. But I was talking in general. I was talking in terms of like using this in your company or making this comparison in your company.
But if you use the at a company, maybe you wouldn't go with a VM, right? You would use something like Airflow or something like this. That
Yes.
would, so instead of SSH into a virtual machine and then executing web2 GCP.py script, you would probably have something like Airflow
Yeah,
or other
or
workflow.
at least Kubernetes or something.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we set up a virtual machine in Google Cloud Platform? I haven't done that until now. Is there a GitHub info on how to do this? Yes, glad you asked. There is actually a video about that. That is probably longer than it should be, like it's 1 hour. This is, I think somewhere here, probably the last one. I'm trying to scroll. Yeah, this one, environment setup. And also check Slack. So there is a nice write-up, a summary from Alvaro, who created a GitHub gist, or gist, I don't know how to actually pronounce it, that just outlines everything you should do. So you don't need to watch this 1 hour long video. You can just take a look at his notes and do that. So up to you. Yeah, I guess that would be the answer, right? So will you be repeating a similar course later on? And if yes, when? I get this question like a few times a week in Slack. So I don't know what I should answer because I say we don't know yet. And I guess this is still the answer, right? We will need to see.
Yeah. I would say we would love to do that. I think we will not change the videos, but we would still have to do these weekly office hours and also to change the homework. So we cannot set a time for that. Definitely, we cannot tell you any timelines. But I hope it will be repeated, and I hope we can do it as soon as the machine learning Zoomcamp course would be over.
Which
Machine
is
learning
like,
DevOps, like, MLOps.
yeah, but then we have machine learning Zoomcamp, and then only then it will be probably in the year or so. So
Exactly.
quite in a while. But the good thing is that all the videos are there available, and you don't need to wait 1 year to start learning it. So everyone is nodding. I guess I can just make it resolved. Yeah, there was a tweet recently. So somebody tweeted, and this tweet got like 500 retweets or 400. That was super, like it went really viral. Why my tweets don't do that, I don't know. When somebody else posts this, it always goes like becomes
What
popular.
was the tweet about?
Our course.
Oh, someone else's about the course went viral
Yeah.
and you just don't. Interesting.
Exactly. This is how it works. I don't know why.
What did the course?
How
What
many-
did it say?
Sorry?
What did it say about the course, or just like sharing?
It was saying that data engineering bootcamp costs 0 by the Talks Club. Details in the thread.
Oh, okay, like sharing. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe you should
Yeah.
create a bot.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so quite a few people saw it. And since we are now almost on week 5, many people now saw it. And are thinking, okay, like I want to join this course, but is it late for me to join or not? Yeah, so it's still not late to join for the project. But yeah, might be a bit difficult for you to catch up, to go through all these materials right now. So maybe you should just do this at your own pace and not stress too much about being able to catch up everything before the project.
What do you think about? Oh no, all good. Nothing.
Okay, I should go with the next one. I couldn't submit any of the assignments as something came up. Is it possible for me to submit the previous assignments before the classes end? It is not, because the solutions are already there, so it kind of defeats the purpose. You can push the solutions and submit it, and for us there is no way to check if you did this yourself or you just watched the solution and submitted it. So yeah, there is no way to do this, but it's not important for the project. So maybe you don't even watch any weeks, you just show up at the end, you do the project, you finish it, and you get your certificate. That also works. Although maybe, yeah, if you already know everything, why would you do this? Anyways, anything to add here? I know why, because our certificates are cool, right? So people want them, even they already know everything. So more resources and books for data engineering for beginners. Like, is there data engineering for dummies? There is.
There is.
No, data engineering
No,
for
maybe
dummies.
big data for dummies.
Big data for dummies. I don't know. It's is it about Hadoop?
There's also
But
cloud
there's
data
a
engineering.
course, data engineering for dummies.
Yeah, that's a data camp. That would be great,
Introduction to
maybe.
they're good. Their
Yeah.
marketing team is good.
Yeah, you mean because they have like
They have
they have
it
an ad
sponsored
for this?
from
Maybe they
I
copied from us, who knows?
I don't know books that are data engineering for beginners. So the book we recommended in the very first session was about this data intensive design and data intensive applications. I don't think it is for beginners. I think for beginners, what you should focus on is SQL and Python. So find good books about that, and that should be okay. That at least would be my recommendation.
Yeah. I will also suggest to focus on maybe one area like SQL, and then pick up any SQL book or any Python book, and that will also help you to start up your career in data engineering.
Or in data in general, right? Because SQL is such a
Yeah.
universal tool that data analysts need, data scientists need, analytics engineers need, data engineers need, machine learning engineers need, backend engineers need. Even I think front-end engineers sometimes need it. Even though they are more into this GraphQL stuff, like this, weird stuff that I still cannot understand. I hope I do not offend any front-end engineer who is watching this. Sorry about that.
No, come on. As a backend engineer, you also have to write GraphQL. I'm doing that right now. It's
sorry.
Okay. I don't want to say anything more.
Yeah. So invest in SQL, right? This is a skill that you will need for sure.
Definitely. But I'm not only talking about SQL. You can also pick up a book from Kafka and just learn that, and that can also act as one of the resources you would need to build up your data engineering knowledge.
Then I see that there is a related thing about learning Linux and basic command line commands. So that is probably also a good area to invest in learning, right? So,
which question are you talking about?
Yeah, so the next one says like how to learn Linux basic commands, and I think this is also a good area in addition to SQL and Python and I don't know, other things that you can invest into in your time into as a data engineer and beginner. So anyone wants to add anything to this one before I mark it as resolved?
No.
Somebody wants to take this one, maybe?
Sejal, do you want to?
Could you please speak on how helpful it would be to learn Linux basic command line commands for data engineering? Definitely, just like the previous question, I think this is like a prerequisite for every software engineer, not just for data engineers alone. Because on your device, you would be most likely using a bash console or zsh console and like, installing Git, using bash. And so definitely basic command line function commands such as viewing your file and I don't know. I don't know exactly like, what the scope of this question means, but maybe you guys want to add to that.
So some of the basic commands I use, I'm not an expert, but something like grep is really important. Tail, head, tail minus f, just for logging purposes, and also find. I think find is one of the most used commands I have basically.
Every time I need to use find, I have to Google. Like it just breaks my brain.
Yeah, you're not alone. I also do that.
Totally.
There's this tool, like command line tool that you can TDLR. Do you know it?
Yeah, I think so.
I use it a lot. I'm also not an expert in Bash, but I really I like to use Bash. I think it solves a lot of stupid, like very tiny problems.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then you use this one, and here you use TDLR, the command. So let's say find, and then it gives you like 5 examples directly applied. So no need to run, like to read the help or anything like that. And there's also one for Python.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yes, star is one of these commands that
My life is so easy.
Yeah.
Vicky has these Easter eggs or nuggets full of like, resourceful tools. The last time also she did that. Vicky is my go-to person now for productivity-based development.
Yeah. So I'm running brew install TLDR. TLDR, right?
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, I agree with what everyone said. I think it's like not super important, and like you will still find a job as a data engineer, but I think it's very useful to know, and it also helps you. It helps you to install. There are a lot of situations where you'll find yourself using Bash, so you better read a little bit and be prepared beforehand. It's something like Git, for example. If you don't know it, then you learn it during the job, but then you'll be extremely scared all the time. And I feel like with Bash is the same.
maybe one.
Actually,
Yeah, sorry, Ankush, please go.
actually, if your data size is small enough, you can do all the data engineering with Bash.
Yeah, if you like, but then
But
you will
don't
need to
put
do things like set, right? And
yeah, but don't
awk.
put that code in production. Otherwise, your teammates will hate you.
And what I wanted to add to this is one, maybe it's not related to basic command line stuff, but maybe a bit to Linux is I really love a tool called make that makes my life makes my life a lot easier for some things. Like even for example for Data Talks Club website I use make to do some things. So this is something that you can also check out. It's not related to data engineering, but in general, for any engineering, for any, well, it just helps you with productivity. You can just do make, I don't know, stuff, and then it will execute all, like everything in the right order. Maybe it's not as useful as TLDR. I hope somebody will find it useful anyways. Could you explain why Spark needs to be installed in that specific way instead of usual pip install? If pip install works for you, cool. For me, it doesn't. Well, it used not to work. I haven't checked right now. When you do this with this specific way, so this specific way, let me open this. Maybe somebody will correct me right now because this is the way I install things. So maybe Sejal or Ankush or Victoria. I don't know if Victoria, if you installed Spark previously, maybe you have different experience installing Spark. So this is how I would do this. And here you would install Java. So Spark needs a specific version of Java. I don't know if with pip install you get this Java version. Then with pip install you will also need to have this jar or whatever, I don't remember how it's called, like this Python library for interacting from Python with Java. But here you just unpack this thing and you have it, you have all the libraries, and it just works. The other advantage of this, you have Spark in your bin directory or whatever directory. Now you are done with Spark, you just go and do rmrf and it's gone. Right, and then with pipend you need to figure out exactly where it installed it, and just I find it a little bit more complicated. But on the other hand, yeah, it's just one command, and if you do pip install PySpark and everything works, then I see no reason not to use it.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with installing Spark is the version. And that's why I use SDKman. Basically, you can install various versions of Java, Scala, Python, whatever, and then can switch between them very easily.
What's the command?
The name of the tool is SDKman. So I send it in the chat in Zoom.
Like that?
Yeah, just search for it. SDKman.io.
That's nice. Yeah. Because for me, like having multiple things in path. So first, like if I have Spark, I need to use a specific version of Java. But let's say if I use something else, then that something else might need a different version of Java. And then I need to have these paths somewhere, and it quickly gets ugly.
Exactly. So you can basically use this and it will be super clear. Your installations are also separate and it handles everything for you. So you don't even have to query. You just say, okay, now use 11 and it will start using 11. Now you use Java 8 and it will just switch to Java 8.
Can I use Java 5?
Cool. You can, but don't put that code again anywhere.
Okay. Did anyone actually here try pip install PySpark and it worked? No? Because last time I tried it was a couple of years ago and it just didn't.
I think it has worked for me before as well. But yeah, recently haven't tried. Or
yeah, maybe you need to have this dependency, this py4j or whatever it's called, and then you need to have a GDK of specific version, and then it works. Well, anyways, I hope it was a good explanation. So week 5, so I need to give good names to these videos. Anyway, so the question is about multiple selection when you define the schema. I think I did say in one of the videos what keys I use, but let me show it again. So I will use maybe this video, this SQL. Where is it? This one. Models, core. So because this is what I use in a video, so I will select it and then open this. Okay, so we are in Visual Studio Code, right? And then for multiple select, if you're on Windows, you need to press Ctrl and Alt and then down, and then you see it goes like that. So for example, here, if I want to do capital sum, so I do Ctrl Alt and down, or up should also work, right? And then, yeah, I have multiple cursors right now. Oops. And then I can, for example, do capital sum. Because for some reasons I like when SQL keywords like these reserved words like sum and so on, they are capital case. And then another thing, for example, you want to select the same word, the same keyword, then you do Ctrl D and then it selects this. And then, for example, you can do S capital. Then if you're on Linux, then instead of Ctrl Alt down or up, I think it's Shift Alt up or down. So it's slightly different. And then if you're on macOS, because the Ctrl is different on macOS, so probably somebody else in this call should tell. Like it's command, right? Yeah, but then I don't know, like, because Maybe it also has a different hotkey for that. But Control D, I think, is universal. So, for example, you want to select like this revenue prefix and you want to remove it, you just do that. So I pressed Control D many times, and yeah, this is quite handy. Yeah, I think I only used these two. So this up and down and this Control D, I think. Anyone else has some VS Code tips? Ankush, I think you use IDEA, right? Or Sejal, you use IDEA.
I use PyCharm. Yeah, I think PyCharm has similar commands to the one that you showed. Probably one or two keys would be different. Yeah, I think you can find cheat sheets for that for your IDE on online. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Ankush, you have fans.
Tell us.
Yeah. There's also another one about his voice.
Yeah.
Oh, I read it some minutes ago. Here. Ankush, you also have a soothing voice. You're great at karaoke. I would like to know that.
Sorry, what?
If you're great at karaoke.
There's another follow-up question.
I'm really bad. I'm the worst. No, I'm really bad at karaoke. I cannot just get the tune right. It's impossible.
What about the rest of us, guys? Don't we have like a great smile or a soothing voice?
Not as good as Ankush.
Any other comment? Or it's not a question.
But thank you so much.
Any plans to invite data engineers to Data Talks Club podcast? Well, I am glad you asked, because you know what? If I go to Data Talks Club main page, there will be an event with Ellen Koenig, who will be talking exactly about that. So she's actually a data engineer right now. She's a head of data engineering or head of data, I don't remember. She was before, previously she used to be a data scientist. And we will talk about her transitioning from data science to data engineering. Then on Friday, we actually had another, we had Rahul, right? So I think if I go to events, yeah, this one, becoming a data engineering manager from Rahul. So it was more about data engineering management, but there was some things about data engineering as well. And if you just go through, well, that's a lot of things actually. So maybe you do search like data. There was a good one about data ops, for example. So if you haven't listened to that yet, check it out. So there is also a transcription. So data ops. So this one is quite cool. Yeah, and if somebody is interested, reach out to me, and or you have somebody in mind who you want me to invite to the podcast, just let me know. Ankush, maybe. Sorry.
As I always said, I'm planning to do it someday.
Yeah. Because we all know that you have such a great voice, so it should be should go well on a podcast.
But we don't have to do karaoke, right? So
maybe at the end. Okay, next one. I don't even know what is this ingenious from somebody. False. Okay.
Like it's false or like not true. Well, false. It's not true. Building a data warehouse was always done through ELT, load data, raw data on a stage area, then run store procedures for transformation. I would not agree. that's also why we stated and the difference in the videos. I can say I don't have like a super long experience. It's not like I've been working for 20 years and I've seen it all. But yet I've seen how transformation happens in scripts, even Bash, as Ankush said. So, and I was talking the other day about someone in an interview. I was interviewing someone, and this person was telling me how they don't do ELT and they have a data warehouse. So yes, it's true that ELT, I would say, my opinion is that ELT is the most common approach with data warehousing, because the reason for that is because cloud data warehousing lowered the cost. I would still say that a lot of companies, they probably don't have a full ELT approach yet. I don't know, Ankush, what do you think?
Yeah, like I think this would be very few cases where we would see that. Like for example, let's take Snowflake. If you do a ELT in Snowflake, your cost will just go crazy, and I would suggest against it, because you really don't want to blow up your cost or pay for something which is really not worth it. So you would like to already transform some of your data before putting it in, right? So I would say this is not a very standard process. ELT is not normal data warehouse.
What about BigQuery though? Like it's cheaper than Snowflake, isn't it?
Is it?
Theory.
Like what about, so you talked about Snowflake, but what about BigQuery? Like,
So
because there
Snowflake
you
is
pay for,
definitely
yeah, sorry.
sorry. Snowflake is definitely more expensive than BigQuery, but BigQuery is also not the most cheapest solution out there. Like I'm pretty sure if you run something on your own hardware, that would be the cheapest. Not calculating the man hours to maintain it, but still, on BigQuery, I can still do it with some amount of data. But again, if the amount of data is going super high, then you would need to already do that. And you also have to do some transformation to put your data into BigQuery, right? You cannot just put JSON blobs there or something like that. So you would already need to transform it into a table format.
I am marking this as a result.
Yeah.
Right?
If anybody else has anything to add?
So maybe I will open this link right now. All One Dummies Computer Tech. So it's like 8 books about SQL for dummies.
But can you check? I think this is in Microsoft. Does it say in the description?
So where do I see it?
And read more. Does it say on which is based?
Microsoft, yeah. Microsoft.
Okay, but also Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL. Okay, well enough. Because many of these books are based, or they used to be based in Microsoft SQL Server. So that's something definitely to watch out. I mean, there's ANSI SQL, and then for the ones that are just starting with SQL, and then every other database, they adapt. So they must have whatever ANSI SQL states, but then they can also adapt things and develop on their own things. So always have in mind when you're looking for a book, if it's going to be what you're going to be using.
So which SQL dialect would you recommend for studying?
What they want to use, right? Yeah, I would say Postgres probably is the most useful if they're going for data engineering.
So MySQL is also, it has quite a few non-standard things.
Yeah.
That you will not find anywhere.
And I guess if you already know, I mean, most of the vendors, they have very detailed documentation. So for example, if you want to go from Microsoft, you can do like their certifications. You don't have to do the certification, but you can still go through the content. And I would say the same happens with Snowflake and even Postgres. MySQL, I wouldn't say has like nice documentation that you can go through, but most of them, they have some kind of school for you to learn their way.
Yeah, for MySQL, usually it's Stack Overflow. So
Yeah.
if I need to do something with MySQL and I see two things, one from official documentation and the other from Stack Overflow, I would go with Stack Overflow. But
Yeah,
probably this is also true for pretty much every other technology.
could be. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if you really need 8 books for SQL when one is enough. Like probably like by the time you read, you finish one, the other 7, I'm not sure if you will need them.
Yeah,
Is
maybe
there?
maybe it has like admin stuff, cope with any issues that arise in SQL, get recurrent, and the
Yeah,
new SQL updates, reference information and query. Yeah,
I'm
another thing here, it says understand relational databases. Other thing is also to check like what's the actual outcome or purpose of the book. There's O'Reilly has a very nice series as well on SQL. I remember I saw one SQL for data analysis. Maybe not ideal for a data engineer, that one, but I really like the content. Yeah, that one, the second one.
the with the bird, right?
Yeah, but this, I know there's a series which maybe like all of this that we're looking at now. Of them, they have like 3 books or something like that. So that's probably something that could also be useful. But I would definitely recommend practice. I mean, use websites like HackerRank, Mode. They all have very nice tutorials and or like problems to practice that are very much alike like business use case. So that's the best way to learn, in my opinion.
So how do you keep up with everything? I can start. I do not. I just don't keep because if I try to keep up with things, I go crazy. One thing is not keeping up with everything, but at least keeping a pulse on what's going on is just looking at maybe conferences, looking what other companies are doing, similar to what, let's say I work at OLX. So I would look at companies similar to OLX, maybe eBay or Allegro or other that are in the same space, and I would look at their talks. So, for example, about marketplaces. And yeah, because the problems they have, they could be quite similar. And yeah, you have to somehow restrict this, because if you don't, then the amount of information we have online is just too much.
Plus, you have to learn also that, and you'll see it, right? There's a lot of new things, and it's like suddenly this is the mass thing you must have and everything like that. And like it happened with NoSQL some years ago, and then SQL was dead, and now SQL is back, and then you kind of like have to learn definitely to. It's okay to be aware of what's going on out there, but just not go like super deep unless you need it, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and in addition to that, it's like sometimes job descriptions also make it like really scary, and they exaggerate, like, requesting 10 years of experience from a beginner, for example. Like there was also this joke about, I guess, Fast API creator applying to a job, and seeing that there is 10 years of experience required on Fast API, whereas Fast API was invented just like 2-3 years ago from the time of our application. So it's really silly, some of these job descriptions. So if that is your benchmark, then don't go for that. Just try to note down the skills that they need, the set of technologies, and maybe just have a basic understanding of like conceptually or fundamentally how they work, or maybe alternatives to that technology also work. And yeah, just having a holistic understanding is more than enough than going deep into anything, I would say.
And I follow Medium. I personally, to keep up with what I want to, I really like Medium. Like every day I read a lot and I receive the feeds, and that's like my main source, I would say. But definitely following up what other companies are doing, showing meetups and that kind of things are also good indicators, like kind of like the buzzwords.
Actually, recommendations from Meetup, are they from Medium, are they good? Because what I get is like 8 top Python libraries, or how I broke into data science, or like the stuff that just very popular, and this
Yeah.
is what they recommend. And I don't find it
yeah,
useful.
like clickbaits or something.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
no, for me, they work pretty good. I wouldn't say like out of the 10 that it sends me, I even click the 10, but there's always like at least 3-4 that I go for and that I enjoy. It's just like every other algorithm, right? Like you have to help it and like start following the blocks you want and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we told a lot of things actually. So try to read 2 articles a week. I think that would be good enough.
I would also like, I had similar issues like in the past as well. And then what I did was I just followed a handful of resources, like some credible resources, which I knew are relevant to me and worked for me. For example, like even I got to know about the Data Talks Club through Alexi, because like I was following on his material about the ML Zoomcamp, and that was perfectly relevant to what I'm looking for, and not having too advanced information or too basic. And then that is how I got to know about Alexi and his sort of stuff. So all the material that comes from DTC is like more relevant for me. And likewise, there may be other channels also. So maybe just find your tuning as to the level of information you need for your topic and just restrict yourself to those sources alone. That would be nice.
I just want to add a comment that you're definitely not stupid. So it's overwhelming for everyone. So I see that we don't have a lot of time. So I don't know, this one is quite upvoted, even though it's a bit maybe off topic for this course. This is a very popular book. I haven't read this book yet. Has anyone read this book? So this hands-on machine learning with scikit-learn, Keras, and TensorFlow.
I've been recommended, but never, and still didn't get a chance to read it. But I guess it's like really good. I don't know.
Okay, I think we talked about this. Maybe we can take this one, last one, right? Would you recommend any particular testing protocols or frameworks for data engineering? A lot of jobs seem to specify test-driven approach.
TDD is one such approach across. I don't know, specific to test-driven approach, I'm just answering here. So TDD is a general software engineering style, which is test-driven development. And yeah, data engineers, at least some companies that I worked for as a data engineer also use the same. PyTest would be a good technology for Python, and like they have those frameworks like really well designed with respect to using fixtures, and likewise. So this would be my suggestion, but this is just one of the many frameworks available. Do you guys have anything to add?
We use the same. We write as much unit test as possible. We used we're not like say a hardcore test driven development company, but we still try to write as many tests as possible. Use the packages, or like for Java there is JUnit 5, for Scala there's Scala test, for Python there is Python test. Use all these libraries out there which will help you in writing, and try to write some integration tests, because you might want to do an end-to-end flow of your data pipeline, and that might be helpful just to catch bugs upfront.
That's why Docker Compose is such a useful tool, because this is what we usually use for integration testing. So hopefully, if you didn't know about Docker Compose, you learned it from the course, and you now can use this in integration testing. Yeah, there's I saw a few things. So about high resolution, I don't think we can do this because yeah, this is as good as we can do. I don't think anyone right now wants to re-record some of the videos in high resolution.
No, never. Then.
Yeah, sorry about that. But and then this one, Allegro AI. I do not know what Allegro AI is. What I meant is Allegro.pl, which is a company in Poland that are doing some e-commerce stuff. But maybe Allegro AI is a spin-off from this is ClearML, so this is, I think, something different. So I meant an e-commerce company, not a MLOps 2 vendor. I think that would be it for today. Right? Anything else before we finish?
I think that's
Then
well.
Victoria, you also seem to have a lovely smile. Damn it. Only me and Alexi are like, I don't
You should
know.
have smiled more, maybe.
What's going on?
Nice. So,
well,
yeah.
let's wrap up. So enjoy week 4 homework and week 5 videos, and week 6 as well, because there are some videos on Kafka already there. And yeah, see you in 1 week.
You guys.
Goodbye.
You.
Goodbye.